Hello, landlord. In the next 60 seconds on Facebook, there will be 510,000 comments posted, 293,000 statuses will be updated, and 136,000 photos will also be uploaded. Facebook is huge. Right now, there are more than 2 billion with a B, monthly users on Facebook. How are you filling your rental vacancies?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah.
Welcome to the Rent Prep for Landlords podcast. And now your hosts, Stephen White and Eric Worrell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. You got Eric Worrell here on the Rent Prep for Landlords podcast. Steve is off this week as we're just trying to still coordinate our schedules a little bit. Having a baby and then running the business and all that kind of stuff together just makes it a little bit more difficult sometimes than you imagine. But this week, as the intro suggests here, we're going to be talking about Facebook marketing, specifically the Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups for listing your rental properties. So I asked our Facebook group, Rent Prep for Landlords, what they do. Does anybody have any pros and cons that they have associated with marketing rental listings on Facebook? And actually put a phone number out there that people could call. And we got some voicemails. So I'm going to play some of those voicemails and kind of give you some feedback and some thoughts on that. We're going to talk about how you can access Facebook Marketplace in the first place.
Hey, how are you? Justin Bradley, Scranton, Pennsylvania, landlord here. With about 6 properties, and just wanted to give you some feedback on the Facebook marketplace and things that have kind of worked for me. Advertising on that. I think the things that I like about it is obviously I can post a variety amount of pictures of my listings. I can do multiple avenues as far as different group sites that I actually participate in, whether it's a particular local rummage sale or yard sale type group. It could also be a particular rental group that actually is listed for apartments and things of that nature for my local area that are folks that are looking specifically for apartments or rentals, which is nice. And obviously, I can also post it directly to my own page for my business or my own Facebook page. Get an idea of the type of life that they're living, or you look at the backgrounds of pictures to see how they keep the place that they might actually be in the pictures. So those are kinds of things that I like and kind of get a perspective of. I like to keep my places nice, neat, and obviously. Those are things that I do when I screen my applicants in regards to my rentals to kind of keep them nice as well and get an idea of who I'm actually getting into places. So just want to give you some feedback there. Again, appreciate the invite, and I hope you guys have a good show. Thanks.
So that was Justin from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I always wonder when I hear somebody from a town like that, is it cool that The Office chose that town to base their show out of? Or is it annoying because people like me are like, oh, Scranton, Pennsylvania, I like The Office. And then you always have to say, yeah, I like The Office. But anyways, so Justin was talking about a few different variables that you can use on Facebook. So most people log onto Facebook, they're either on the news feed or they go to their personal profile. He talked about posting from your personal profile. He also talked about posting from a business page. So if you have a rental property business and you have a page that you can post from, those are two ways of getting some attraction, some eyes on your listings. But with those two listings, typically what you're going to get is you're going to get people that are all in your ecosphere. So people you're friends with, people that already like your business page. So those are ways to at least, if you have a friend of a friend of a friend who knows somebody who's looking for a rental, maybe that'll help connect you. The other things he asked about, or I should say mentioned about, were the listings that he does in Facebook groups. So Facebook groups is a great opportunity to get outside of your little friends group or people who like your page and get somebody who maybe, just happen to be on Facebook at that moment and saw your rental and they're in the market for a rental. And I like that he said he looks for rental groups that are in his city. So what you can do is, if you're on Facebook yourself, you can just search your city and then maybe a rental group or rent, and then see what starts popping up. And if you can find a group with 5,000, 10,000 people in it, that might be a great place to list your listings. Groups like Rent Prep for Landlords, we don't do that because it's more of a national group and we want it just to be a resource for landlords. You want to make sure that you find a group that can work well for you, that actually allows listings of rentals. Another thing worth mentioning is the type of group that you pick. So to get a little bit deeper dive on that, I'm going to have us listen to a voicemail that Natalie left us for the episode here. Very insightful on how she goes about using Facebook groups to match them up to the type of rental that she has for people. All right, let's give that a listen.
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm a landlord in Illinois. I use Facebook to market my properties, and I do find it very helpful. I typically rent within one county, or that's where all my properties are. So I like to go onto sites that are unique to my county. We have several for sale sites. We have several, swap board sites. These are all on Facebook. We have a couple of sites that are just for rental homes within our county. Again, all on Facebook. So I will go on there. I'll post pictures. I'll post a description of the house. And I get a lot of response. My suggestion would be to include all the information. Don't leave the price out. Otherwise your inbox will blow up with how much is it 100 times over, and they can't afford it. So always put the price, put all the details in it, and that way the people that do contact you will be, a better lead. So the last two properties that I have rented have come from Facebook. I'm just a big believer in Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. Everybody knows somebody. When they're looking for a house, they spread, that thought with their friends. Hey, if you find anything, let me know. They see it on Facebook, and it works. Alrighty then. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So that was Natalie from Illinois, and I've actually messaged back and forth with Natalie, and I'll give you a little bit of a teaser here. We are actually launching a book here at Rent Prep, and it's all based on the helpful community advice that comes from the Rent Prep for Landlords community. And Natalie authored a chapter on what she does with paint colors and trim and different things when she spruces up a rental. So if you want to search on Amazon for the Landlord Water Cooler, you will see a funny little book cover image, and you'll see me and Steve on there. And this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that would be the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of October 2017. The book will be free. So if you're listening to this, make sure you check it out. Even if you don't catch it on the promo, it's going to be 99 cents. So we're just trying to price it so that we can get as many people to download it and learn from the helpful advice that's coming from landlords that listen to this podcast, that are part of the Facebook group. And I can't thank Natalie enough for writing a chapter of that book and also giving some advice here on Facebook marketing. Now, one of the things she said really stuck out with me, and that is the fact that she said, make sure you include the price. So when you're posting on Facebook versus Craigslist versus Zillow, you're going to have a different kind of expectation, a different kind of customer, and a different type of communication. On Craigslist, it might be a little bit more of a known situation that you post and then you go to email and then it goes a little bit of back and forth. But on Facebook, it's more conversational and you go into a messenger app. So I think it's very important that you're letting some of your screening criteria be known and also putting the price of the rental down so that you're not getting too much, just tire kickers and people that aren't a good fit for your rental. That was one of the complaints that we got when we posted this to the Facebook group, is that people were saying they got a lot of duds, or that people weren't very helpful, or they got 40 responses, but only one person actually was, even worth following up with. So if you are posting, make sure that you're letting people know that maybe you don't allow smokers, or your pet policy, rent-to-income ratio might be a decent thing to throw in there as well. And Natalie actually left us 2 voicemails, and in the different voicemails, she had a really insightful comment that was about the types of groups that you post to on Facebook. And I'm going to play just that section of that voicemail for you now.
One of the things that Facebook has is they have groups for different enthusiasts. In other words, like there's woodworking is a good one that I use. One of the properties that I have, when I bought the house, there was a very large garage behind it, and the guy had built a beautiful woodworking shop in the garage. So when I go to rent that house, I get onto one of the woodworking sites on Facebook, and I advertise it for the woodworking enthusiasts. And I show pictures of the beautiful workshops back there. And that helps me rent the house.
So I thought this was really great insight from Natalie in that she takes a look at the rental property and sees if it might line up with a certain enthusiast. So in her particular case, she's got a great woodworking shop on the rental property, and that might be something great for somebody who's really into woodworking. So she posts that to a local Facebook group. I'm assuming it's local. Even if it's national, a lot of times it might give you some local search results as Facebook and Google and these different services tend to show things that are more local to you because it might be something more intriguing to you. So I thought this was really interesting, and you might want to take a look at some of your rental properties, and if there's significant details, or maybe there's a service or a landmark that's close by that people are really interested in, or there's some sort of niche Facebook group that might find your rental property interesting, that's a good place to start and to post to that group. And the cool thing about posting to that group is the worst thing that's going to happen is no one's going to respond to it, or you'll get one or two haters that will respond to it, and you just forget about it and you move on. It's not going to cost you any money to do that. So that was a great tip from Natalie. And next, we're going to be going to Baltimore, Maryland, where Jennifer is going to give us some of her insights on using Facebook to fill her rental property.
Hi guys, it is Jennifer from Maryland, and I wanted to, give the pros of using Facebook for rent groups. My experience, actually I'm a moderator of two of them for my state, and when people comment, not only does it comment that they're interested, it bumps your post to the top so you get more views. Also, they can just message you, which is super simple because you can just kind of set up your viewing times and schedule through the Messenger app through Facebook. So I think those are pretty much the pros I can think of. Not really any cons. As long as their Facebook is public, you'll be able to see. If not, you have other resources to look them up, obviously. But I think that would be about it. That's all I can think of. Again, thank you guys for the awesome website and information. And again, this is Jennifer from Maryland, private owner at one property. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Well, I should say thank you, Jen. You're real active in the group, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate your insights, and everybody who comments, and the community has been a terrific aspect of just getting great knowledge from landlords. And I want to comment on a couple things that Jen said here. The first is getting comments on your posts. So she's talking about the engagement that you get on your listings that you put to Facebook. The more likes, the more comments you get, the more important it is in Facebook's eyes and the more reach they're going to give you. Because Facebook wants to show things that are interesting, and interesting things get comments and likes. So it might be worth in your rental listings to actually give a call to action. Tell people, if you're interested, comment below with this, or yay or nay on this, or maybe even make something slightly controversial in the post so people will be like, oh, that's the worst. I would never live there. Even when people are, maybe writing nay or this isn't for me, it's actually getting more engagement on that post, so you'll get more organic reach. So just think about creating some sort of call to action on your post to comment below instead of having people go right to Messenger. The second thing she talks about is people with public profiles. So she brings up a really good point that you can click through their profile and see pictures, and maybe there's pictures of them throwing a rager or at a kegger or something like that, which might be a pretty big red flag for most landlords. The interesting thing about this is, last week, I was talking with Don Krupins, who is an attorney that represents landlords in California, and his stance is that using social media to screen your tenants is actually not a good thing. And his reasoning was that not every tenant has Facebook, not every tenant has LinkedIn and Twitter. So depending on the way that you're screening, then you're looking at information that isn't accessible for everybody. So maybe for one person, it's an advantage, and for somebody else, it's a disadvantage. So I thought that was a pretty interesting insight. It might be a tough sell to landlords that are looking to screen tenants, but it is something to be cognizant of and at least keep in the back of your mind. And perhaps down the line, there may be another ruling that comes out as far as using social media to screen tenants. But for me, if it's public information, it's public information. So it's up to them if they want to private their Facebook profile. So something that you can also do is search their name and also a phone number once you get an application, because that there's a chance they may have two profiles too, because some people will have a profile that's just their personal and some will have one that's more professional that they may use. So that's something that you might want to check out. But again, think about whether or not you want to make it part of your process, because Don did warn against using social media as part of your screening. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Facebook Marketplace. So it was interesting because I originally posted to the group talking about Facebook Marketplace, which is this new service, and it's essentially competing with Craigslist and eBay, and it's creating a online marketplace. So if you want to sell it, I've actually used it. I sold a used television, and I also sold a futon out of my house. And then oddly enough, the television went to somebody 5 doors down. So it probably because they were local and real close to my house, they got served that. And when you're using the marketplace, from my understanding right now, is it's not available on every device. It's something that they're rolling out by device, and I have an iPhone 7, and currently I get it. But the Facebook Marketplace, if you get the Facebook app, it's usually in the lower bar, the white bar at the bottom. The second from the left, you'll see something that looks like a little marketplace, kind of like it's got a little awning on it. If you click that, that's where you can go and start seeing people buying and selling all sorts of things. There's cars in there. There's rental listings. I mean, there's a lot of crap in there too. But it's pretty interesting because it's giving this buying and selling atmosphere a more social feel, because you can see the profile picture and then you can connect on Messenger, and eventually you'll be able to just send payments right through Facebook, which is pretty neat. So this is something that's definitely going to gain popularity. I think as of right now of making this podcast, it is something that is not on everybody's radar, but over time what will happen is Facebook is going to try to suck up more and more of that action, and probably less and less in the private groups, in my opinion, just because if they can start to monetize payments for things and be able to control that information better, that's something they're going to do. So take a look, download the Facebook app if you don't have it on your phone already, and look in the lower bar, 2 from the left, that icon. See if that takes you to the marketplace. Check it out. You might find some interesting things for sale. I know I kind of go in there once in a while and find some stuff, so check that out. And if you do have any insights, or maybe you have a question that you've been wondering about with managing your rental property, something you want to address here on the podcast, we'd love to add your insights into the podcast going forward. You can leave us a voicemail. It'll automatically go to the voicemail when you dial this number. You can go to 716-218-0363. Again, that number is 716-218-0363. 0363, and you'll hear me on the voicemail. And you can leave anything you want on there, and I'll get an email from that notifying me that you left a voicemail there. So we'd look forward to hearing your insights, or maybe you just want to say something about the podcast, and we'd love to hear from you. So until next week, everybody, take care, and be sure to check out The Landlord Water Cooler on Amazon. New book that we just released. Real excited. Can't wait to share it with everybody. So check that out, Landlord Water Cooler. Look for the goofy image of me and Steve by the water cooler, and we will see you in the Facebook group and on the podcast next week. All right, have a great week, everybody.